Aloore Radio, the online radio that amplifies the voice of all your states. Join our green community of listeners all around the globe by following Aloore Radio on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, Aloore Radio, YouTube, Aloore Radio. Visit our website on www.alooreradio.com. You can also download the Aloore Radio application on the Google Play Store by searching Aloore Radio. Call or send a message on 0903 985 3731. We bring you everything from breaking news.
President must know that this is a bad time for our nation. We must look for foreign support to save this nation.
World news, sport, music,
Girl, I just want me with you like I said.
and many more. To listen to our programs, follow us live on all our social media platforms on Facebook at Aloore Radio, Twitter and Instagram at Aloore Radio. You can also subscribe on our YouTube page on Aloore Radio. Make sure you click on the notification bell so you know when we are live. This is Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State.
I want to believe this is a beautiful morning. This is the first week of September, and it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. How are you doing today? We're about 8 months plus gone. This is the 9th month. I hope the year has been treating you really nice. This is Business and Life from Aloore Radio, transmitting from the GSM studios at the Ministry of Information and Orientation, Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. All right. I hope you follow Aloore Radio on Facebook and YouTube. If you do not, I think this is a good time for you to follow. So it's Aloore Radio. Aloore Radio on Facebook, Aloore Radio on YouTube. And the website is www.alooreradio.com. It's a good time to follow this radio station and be up to date with what is happening across the world. Okay, so today I'll be talking about business models. I know I was here some months back to talk about business model canvas. I know somebody will be listening and be like, yeah, you talked about business model canvas. So what are you coming to do or talk to us about business models? So actually, business models are actually different from a business model canvas. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Well, we have quite a lot of things to talk about on the business model. I hope we'll be able to finish up. But wherever we stop, I believe you will be very good. This is especially targeted towards business owners, entrepreneurs, people who have plans to start businesses, business development managers who serve as entrepreneurs for companies. I hope you know the difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is the person who founds a business, starts a business, and runs it or scales it. Entrepreneurs are people who oftentimes do not really start businesses. They may not be starters. They may not have the drive or the inertia, to start ventures of their own. But once you start it, once you launch it, they can run it and scale it for you to enviable heights. Case in point, the current CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, he probably wouldn't have been able to start Apple through its early rough years when Steve Jobs started. But today, he has driven Apple to be a company that has over $1 trillion valuation. I mean, probably if Steve Jobs were alive, he maybe wouldn't have been able to take Apple to that height. Even Microsoft. We have Bill Gates. He started the business, and then after running it for a few years, he had to hire a CEO who has also driven Microsoft to be worth over $1 trillion. $1 trillion, not a trillion naira. That's a lot in valuation. So yeah, having said that, let's look at the things we have plans to consider. So we're looking at what is a business model. One of the things we'll consider is what is a business model. What's the difference between a business model and a business model canvas? And then we're going to look at various types of businesses, and then we're going to explore various types of models. And maybe if we have some time, we'll look at examples of some models. I hope you're ready. I mean, if you're listening from home, just grab a cup of coffee or grab a cup of tea or something warm because it's already cold out there. And if you're in the office, you may want to pay some attention to this because it will be helpful. So, what is a business model? I guess it's time to dig right in. So, what is a business model? A business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Hmm. Having said this now, some people like, which one is this plenty construction of grammar just to explain what a business model is? I'll take that again and maybe we'll simplify it. So, a business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. If that sounds too, what do we call it? If that sounds too high sounding, then we'll just bring it down a little bit. And you say, in simpler terms, a business model seeks to answer the question, how can your business make money sustainably? It is important to add the sustainably there, because if you say, how can your business make money, it means you may end up getting trapped in the web or the circle of how can my business make money today? How can my business make money tomorrow? But what about how can my business keep making money in the next year? How can my business keep making money in the next 10 years, 20 years? So if you're not thinking that far, you will have some issues with regards to preparing a solid or a fail-proof business model. So the simple definition of a business model is just how can your business make money sustainably? How can your business make money sustainably over time, such that even if you've lived for like 100 years and you're able to, how do we say it? You're able to build or you're able to have your children or grandchildren take over that business, how can that business keep making money? You notice that some of these big brands didn't just start today. The brand of Toyota, Honda, even Mercedes, they started like for many years, tens of years ago, decades, and they've been running. And somehow you keep wondering, so it's not cars they are making, but there are other people who are making cars, and the cars have not been able to sell as much as those other cars, and then there are mobile phones. We know of mobile phones that when we started, we had a sort of Nokia, we had the Nokias of those days, the 3310, we had the Blackberries of those days. Today, we don't even know where Nokia is. We don't even know. In fact, Blackberry is totally not non-existent, But in those days, if you're using a Blackberry, you're like the iPhone user of this day and time. Those days when Bold 5 used to be, how much was Bold 5? Bold 5 used to be like, 45,000. And people would save for months just to buy a Bold 5. And once you buy that Bold 5, you'll be walking around with it all over. Those people are holding the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14, and everybody's just moving around. So, but they were not sustainable. Motorola, we had the Sagems, but we have the iPhones. We have the Samsung. Samsung started, and over the years, it has been able to make the necessary adjustments and all of those things. You have what other phone we have now? We have also had the new entrants. We had the Technos, the Infinix, So we have a lot of these models. But how can your business? It doesn't matter what your business is, even if you are frying akara. by the roadside, how can you remain in business sustainably? Sustainably, how can you remain in business sustainably? It is important that these questions are answered, and as a business owner, that is what you should spend a very good amount of time working on, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that and you're moving with just vibes, oh well, no, everybody buys akara by the road and all of those things, and you're not able to, create ways by which you can sustainably keep making that money, you're going to have a very, very, very big problem. So that is what a business model is. Now, when we were talking, I started saying that, I talked about business model canvas some months ago, and here I am again talking about a business model, and people are wondering, what is the difference between a business model and a business model canvas? Okay, so I'll try to make it as simple as I can. Of course, we know what a business model is. A business model covers everything about your business, from from the strategy to the approach your company will use to create this value, to deliver this value, to capture this value. It includes business strategies, it includes how to remain relevant in the market, But a business model canvas is just like a summary of how it's just a summary of how your business will run. You see, it doesn't cover your entire revenue model. So for instance, now when we talked last some months back, we said a business model canvas is especially important for people who are just about to start a business, and they are not able to maybe afford to do a proper business plan, or hire an expert to do a business plan for them, because they will be charged hundreds of thousands of naira or dollars, depending on the services of the professional you're trying to engage. But you want to start a business, because you cannot afford maybe 500,000 naira for a business plan. Should that now mean you wouldn't run a business? No, of course you should be able to run a business. So that business model canvas has about 9 quadrants. On that box, in that box, they have about 9 quadrants where you're able to look at, okay, who are your competitors, what are your channels of engaging your clients or your customers, what are the products you want to offer, and all of those things, who are your partners, and all of those things. Those are the things you look at in a business model canvas. So it just gives you a very, very brief summary. So in your business model canvas is a part of your business model, but your business model is not a part of your business model canvas. Do you understand? Something very, very simple like that. I hope you really get it. Now we're going to be looking at, having said what a business model is, and having been able to differentiate between a business model canvas and a business model, you need to even know what are the types of businesses available, what are the kinds of business you have that people run. You see, if you do not know some of these things, it will have a way of affecting how you even create that model, how you create those channels, how you try to present your business. So it's important to know, because when you even know the kind of business segments you're playing, it also affects how you position your business, it affects how you position your brand, and all of those things. So there are a couple of business segments. In fact, there are a lot of business segments available. Some you may just even have to create the name by yourself, but the popular ones that we know are things, you begin to hear things like B2B, and somebody's wondering, what is B2B? You begin to hear things like B2C. Is the business about ABCD? So we have B2B, you hear things like B2C, you even begin to hear things like B2G, and you're like, is it going to be B? Should there be maybe B2A or B2E or B2Z? But no, that's not exactly what it means. It's just a short form for the longer name, which is what I'm going to explain in a bit. So B2B simply means business to business. B2B simply means business to business. What that means is you're a business, but your clients are businesses. Do you understand? You're a business, but the people you serve, the people you supply, the people you that are your target market or your target audience are basically businesses. So, for instance, you have, let me see. So, for instance, you have maybe like Dell computer. When they want to sell certain kinds of hardware, they sell them to people like IBM that for use in their data center. So, a data center is a combination of large computers where things are being stored, and then also analysis is being carried out and all of that. So yes, so Dell cannot sell that to an individual person because number one, the individual does not even have the kind of money to even buy that solution. Secondly, he doesn't even have the capacity to maintain them. So businesses buy them because they cost a lot of money. When you want to buy a Dell laptop, just one laptop is about what, 400,000, 500,000. I mean, you can buy it, but when you want to buy the hardware for the entire data centers, the bills run into hundreds of millions of dollars. You understand? So the service businesses. Now B2C is the one we are very, very familiar with across board. We know everybody does B2C. B2C is simply business to consumer. Yakara, the junction sells Akara to you. You go to, maybe you go online, you buy something directly, directly from the vendor. That's B2C because they are doing the business directly to the client or to the users or to the consumers, whichever one may be. So for instance, you want to buy an iPhone, what do? You just go to a shop or you go online and you place an order and it's delivered directly to you. So that's a B2C business segment. We have B2G. B2G is simply business to government. There are businesses that exist to just serve governments across the world. They build technology for governments, they build technology for government agencies. So for instance, you have maybe, let's say we're in Nigeria, and you decide that, okay, you want to build a software that the Nigerian army can use. Nobody can buy that solution from you for two reasons. First, it's going to be too expensive. Secondly, it's not going to be relevant to you because they're usually custom made solutions. So you're a business that serves government. That's all. Government agencies, government organizations, parastatals, and all of those things. That's what you do. So that's a B2G business segment. Then we have a C2C. C2C is very interesting. It's called consumer to consumer business segment. The C2C is a consumer to consumer business segment. Basically, the easiest sample that comes to mind for C2C is like maybe Gigi. So you go on Gigi, somebody wants to sell his phone, somebody wants to sell his car, and then you come online, you see the phone, oh, I like this phone, and you begin to chat. The person is a consumer like you're also a consumer, then you guys are meeting there in the marketplace and everybody's trying to make sales and all of those things. So that's a C2C business. You have like Facebook Marketplace, really interesting business models like that, business segments like that. Then we have B2B2B. Yeah, B2B2B, and someone will be wondering, what is B2B2B again? So B2B2B is very simple, business to business to business. Now, what that means is there are big businesses who service medium-scale businesses that service smaller businesses. They don't do individuals at all. In the entire value chain, they don't have any individual. They do businesses, but the small-scale businesses cannot afford the big orders that those companies have to offer, and then the medium scale can afford it, but they cannot totally break it down or cannibalize it for their own profitability. So the best way they can survive is to buy it from the bigger guys and then also sell it down to smaller businesses in chunks and in bits. So a manufacturer of raw material selling his products to a supplier who then sells it to a manufacturer, So that's just what the B2B2B business segment is about. Then we have B2B2C. B2B2C is a business to business to consumer business segment. Those ones are big businesses who sell to probably wholesalers, retailers, and then those ones are able to not cannibalize those products or even cannibalize the services to end consumers. So for instance, Peak Milk produces milk in bags. Now you may not be able to afford like 110,000 naira to go and buy one bag of milk because two things. First, keeping a bag of milk in your house is risky. How do you want to preserve it? How would the flavor be preserved? And it's going to be too much of an expense for you to bear. But there are smaller businesses and the market that can buy 2 bags, 3 bags, 5 bags, and they can preserve it because first they have stores where they keep those things, and then they are easily preserved, and they can keep it, and they have the funds to do that. So they buy those bags of milk from Pick Milk, and then you go to the market and you buy a measure. You buy maybe 1 mudu, 2 mudus, 3 mudus as you have needs. So that's a B2B to C. This is so because Pick Milk cannot start selling the milk 1 mudu, 2 mudus. I mean, it's a whole lot of stress for them, but they can sell it 5 bags, 10 bags to people, and then people can now to businesses, and then people can now go to those businesses and say, okay, give us 1 mudu of milk. In fact, give me a cup of milk. They will sell it to you, but you can't go to Pick Milk and say, give me a cup of milk. How many people do they want to sell cups of milk to? So that's a B2B to C business segment. There is also what they call P2P. You see, now we've started living the realms of B. So we have what they call P2P. P2P is simply peer-to-peer, and it was very prevalent when you get to the crypto space. You want to make payments and all of those things. You want to do a quick transaction, and somebody has what you need. It's somehow similar to the C2C model. Somehow similar to the C2C model. It's just that the P2P has higher stakes involved. And then we also have B2E. B2E is business to employee. So sometimes businesses offer opportunities to their employees. They sell services to them. So for instance, a company offers its employees access to an online learning platform for professional development. Maybe it will be discounted. So for instance, let's say all the people that work at Aloore Radio, now the management says that, oh, you know what? We want you guys to upskill in all of these things, and we're going to enroll you guys to do an Udacity course or a Coursera course or take a course on EDX, and we will maybe subsidize it for you, and then you guys are going to pay so and so. Or maybe Aloore purchases a license, and then that license that they purchase, you want to have access to it, you pay, but you may not pay like the full market rate. But that's also a business model because it ensures loyalty, growth and all of those things to the business. So we've said quite a lot about our very businesses. I guess we'll just go on a quick short break, and when we come back, we'll start talking about what are the possible reasons for business models that people think about. We've talked about, okay, this is what a business model is. We know what the difference between a business model and a business model canvas. Now we'll look at the various business segments, but before we go back to talk about people's reasons for business models, we're just going to take a quick short break, and I'll be back shortly.
Guys, our party no dey end. Miss White stay for house. She go stay with us till the dawn. We dey talk the talk, we dey walk. We dey pay for things where we want. All the dreams of yesterday, them go come true tomorrow. Everybody where we meet for the places where we dey go. Them like to jolly, like to talk shit and do the things them they talk. We no get the time to the force. Wahala day we go solve. Life is too short to worry too much and wait for God to come. guys, our party not the end. Conversation till dawn. Try over we cups. We dey talk big talk, we dey walk. We dey like it things we be posh. All the dreams of yesterday must to come true tomorrow. Every time we dey for town, we dey make the people happy. Them they talk to us, they walk to us, say them like the way we dey roll. We no get the time to the force, but holiday we go solve. Life will too short to worry too much and wait for God to come.
Okay, you're welcome back. This is Business and live from Aloore Radio, transmitted from the GSM studios at the Ministry of Information and Orientation, Secretariat, Agodi Ibadan. All right, so we just finished talking about business segments, and we looked at what a business model is, we looked at what a business model canvas is, and now we're going into the next phase, which is basically what are the possible reasons for business models that people look at or people consider, when they're talking about business models. It's really interesting. So one of them is market testing. Sometimes people want to just do market testing with regards to maybe pricing or something. They want to test the market and say, okay, this model that we want to do like this, or this way we want to make money, or this amount we want to charge, or this way we want to do it. Will the market accept it? Will the market accept it? Will they like it? Will the people like it, or will they revolt and all of those things? So that's a possible reason for businesses or people to try out business models. Then there's something also called price wars. War, WAR. People want to fight. Businesses are fighting price wars. So you say, I'm selling a bottle of water for 100 naira. Somebody says that, I'm selling my own water for 95 naira. So everybody begins to run to the person that person is selling 95 naira because of 5 naira difference, and then another person decides to come that, I'm selling mine for 80 naira. So the person that's selling it for 100 naira, the person that's selling it for 95 naira, and the person that's selling it for 80 naira, they all have their game plan. So the person that's selling it for 100 naira has probably decided that, this is what I will do if I keep selling it like this, I will be able to break even after maybe a couple of months or weeks or days or thereabout. The person that's selling it for 95 naira is looking at, since I've removed 5 naira, I have more people from there to come here and buy from me, and if I'm able to maybe tweak my product a little bit, I can have more volume that will cover for that 5 naira that I have taken off. The person that's probably selling for 80 naira has decided that, I'll have like double of the entire people coming. So, okay, well, it will take me a longer time to break even, but if I break even at this way, I'll be able to start making profit from this point. So, those are business models. Price wars is a possible reason that people, explore. There's also product wars. Price wars and product wars are two different things. So, product wars, for instance, you could have an iPhone and a Samsung, or a Google Pixel and an iPhone. So everybody's like, the iPhone, the high-end iPhones and the high-end Samsung phones, they are all very expensive. They're within the same price range, if we're keeping it a buck. But there's a difference in their products, right? Sometimes the specifications, sometimes the features and all of those things. People can say that, we need to edge these people out of this business to have more market share. So maybe we'll add 15 cameras behind our phone. So if we put 15 cameras, so you just open the phone, you just see eyes all over, camera lenses all over, and you just feel that if we do that, people will like it and they will come for us, and ditch the other phone. So product wars is a possible reason. Then marketing and PR. Sometimes some people do certain things just to, for people to get to know about their business. So for instance, maybe I can decide that, I'm selling phones. If you buy 2 phones, I'll give you 1 phone for free. Everybody likes free things, so people will begin to rush. So it's a business model. I'll give you 2 phones. If you buy two phones, I'll give you one phone for free. It's a business model. Why? Because people begin to now flock in there and like, oh, you know what, give me two phones. I want to see. And before you know, people now know about your business or your brand name. You understand? So sometimes even sometimes some businesses take initial losses for a longer term profit, because once people begin to know them as the dependable, affordable, quality products and all of those things, before you know, when you are going to do this, everybody now begins to say, wait, you say you want to go and buy bread, say, oh, is it this bread you want to go and buy? Right? Because people know that brand very well. They have built what they call brand equity. Then there's adjacent business interest, politics, or global relations. So sometimes some people, and this is where it gets very tricky, and that's why you also need to pay attention to your own business. Focus on your business, focus on your journey. Sometimes people do certain things with businesses, experiment with certain businesses just to get attention, because they are trying to maybe get some form of political appointment, or they're trying to get a contract in a different space. So case in point, now let me see what can we come up with, what story can we come up with. So for instance, somebody's trying to get the attention of probably a billionaire, and then the person decides to venture into a similar business as that billionaire, but his major focus is not that business. So for instance, let's say Dangote. Now Dangote is into cement, but the person actually is trying to venture into gold, but he knows that he doesn't have the clout to go into gold mining business, because if he goes in there, the people may not give him what he wants, or they may not treat him the way he wants, because he doesn't have that clout. So the person goes to probably buy an iron ore mine, a mine where he can get iron ore to make cement, and then he begins to make a lot of noise about it. Say, yes, there's a young man who just bought maybe like 3 mines. He's going to mine iron ore, and then he's going to use that to sell cement in cement that will be better than what you have from Dangote cement and Boa cement. And everybody will be like, wow, there's a young man that's trying to do that. And because that name has begun to go around, and maybe he even starts producing the cement, and he decides to be selling the cement half the price, he's not making profit. Do you understand? He's not making profit, but he's trying to use that cloud, he's trying to build that thing, so that when he eventually is ready to go into the gold business, he just goes to the gold mine partners, and then he begins to talk big and let them know. So already they are feeling privileged to have him. Why? Because they say, this is the guy that's competing with Dangote, competing with these big people. And he said, this man has a lot of money. Maybe he doesn't have any money, but that's why the person started that business. So you now, if you are not trying to compete with him on price, on products, because you don't know the person's end goal, you discover that you will go and crash. The person now has gone into gold. He has had all the contacts he has been looking for over time, using the cement model, though the cement was running at a loss, but he was willing to run at a loss for maybe 2 years, 3 years. In fact, some people run at a loss for almost 5 years because of a plan they have. Because once they hit it big, once he has a plan for the gold, a fail-proof plan. Once he hits it big in that gold, he knows what he's going to do with it, and maybe the profit he makes from that gold in 2 years covers or the entire losses he has made for 5 years. So it's very important to understand why people do certain things. Don't just assume. So the other reason, which seems to be the more noble reason behind people's desire to do or explore business models, is some people just want to build an empire or a legacy. They want to build like an enduring business, a business that lasts not just 10 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. Businesses that their great-grandchildren can come, grow into, run, and all of those things. So it's very important. And then all these kinds of reasons, all these reasons that I have mentioned and I've listed, determine how you arrange your model. Very, 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 very important. So having said that, we've said too much about all of those things. Now, what are the various types of models? Very, very interesting question. What are the various types of models? It's very, 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 very important. What are the various types of models? So I'll just quickly go into it. We have asset sale, where you sell product directly to customers, especially if you run a B2C business model, a business to consumer business model. Asset sale is simply whatever you sell, whatever product you sell to people that they can consume or they can use or whatever. So if you sell water to people, your assets there is what? The bottle of water or the sachet water. So that is what an asset sale is. So it's a model. Some people just prefer that, you know what, let's do a product, let's package it, and then let's sell it out to people. So it's a model. Then there's usage fee. Usage fee is where the more people use it, the more they pay. Like maybe telecom operators. If you don't recharge your phone with airtime or data, you will not you're not going to spend the money because you're not making any call. You're not browsing. So it means that if your phone is not recharged for like what 1 year, it means MTN or your network providers are not making money from you. Do you understand? So, but the way they can make money is they encourage you to make calls, because if you want to make calls, you need to load your phone with airtime, and if you want to browse, you need to use data. So that's the usage fee. It's a type of model. So you can look at your business and say, okay, what do I need to do? How can we create this model? What can we create a usage fee for this particular model, such that everything you have access to here is free, everything is free, but if you want to keep using it, you begin to pay. Maybe you pay something really small, or maybe you pay a premium, depending. So we have subscription services or subscription fees. It's another type of business model or revenue stream. What is a subscription service? I mean, we know that DSTV, even your data subscription is a subscription service, right? Anytime you want to browse, you pay a data, you pay this thing. People want to do Netflix, you want to Netflix and chill, so you need to subscribe to Netflix every month. You need to subscribe to your cable TVs every month, so if you don't pay for that subscription, you won't have access to the various offers within that subscription. So that's a model. So you can look at your business or the business idea you have. Will this model work for you? Will you be able to make money sustainably over time with it? Then you also have advertising. So you notice that when you go to some blogs, it's free. They have all kinds of news for you, all kinds of stories, and all of those things. It is free, but you see many adverts on that platform. Just the adverts are so much. You anywhere you go, you'll be seeing different kinds of adverts. It is free. The advert is free, but the platform is free. You can use it and enjoy it. You don't have to pay a dime, but they have to make money from advertisers. So people come to sell things to you online when you get into those blogs, and you see all kinds of adverts and stuff like that. For instance, YouTube is free, right? But there's the subscription part of YouTube where you pay YouTube Premium, and if you don't want to pay YouTube Premium, you use the regular YouTube that everybody uses. But what happens when you're using the regular YouTube? You'll be seeing ads, right? And there are people paying for those ads. So that's the only way they're making money. Since you cannot make money for them, you cannot give them money, they will have to collect money from advertisers, and then they come and they advertise to you. So that is a model. And then there's lending, renting, or leasing, where you make money off renting certain stuff to people. So for instance, people who do data centers or who offer cloud services, cloud storage. Cloud storage is just basically companies offering you space to save your things digitally instead of having to save them physically and all of those things. So you save them digitally, and so they have those kind of space. So you pay for using those spaces. So you have things like you have services like Amazon Cloud Services. Google also has its own cloud storage service, where if your Google Drive is full, you can pay for more space, right? Yeah, so we have business model types. The more business model types are licensing. Especially licensing works very well if it's a software. If it's a software business, licensing works very well if it's a software business. licensing works very well if it's a software business. Licensing, trademarks, patents, and all of those things. So if you want to buy, for instance, your antivirus on your computers, they work with licenses, right? So you just pay a one-time license fee, and then you have access to the antivirus activated on your system and all of those things. And then even maybe like movies, people who produce movies, sometimes they want to buy songs from artists. Some of those songs you listen to on your movies, they pay for them, especially if they are popular songs you know. They pay heavily for them, and so people make money off that. It's a model. And then you also have brokerage fees. For instance, you have maybe real estate agents and who earn commission on successful matching a buyer with a seller. So if you want to buy land, I want to buy land, I want to buy a house. Okay, I'll connect you to somebody who wants to sell and all of those things. So when you guys meet and you guys have agreed, okay, so you pay me 5%, you pay me 10%, you pay me 25%, whatever the deal is. And then there's a razor and blade model. This razor and blade model is a very interesting one because it has a way of putting customers in a very tight spot. So I'll give you an instance of this razor and blade. There was a time printers were very expensive. People couldn't afford printers and all of those things. So the the companies producing the printers, DexJet, that's HP were producing the printers, and they were like, you know what? Let's make these printers cheap. In fact, I remember there was a time the printers were as cheap as, is it 15,000? You could even get a printer for 12,000 then. So people were rushing to buy the printer. Everybody was having, in fact, it was a bragging right. Do you have printer in your house? Do you have printer in your house? Everyone was rushing. Do you have printer? Yes. Now the problem was this. The printers were very cheap, but the inks were even more expensive than the printers. Now your ink is finished. What do you want to do? You have to buy ink. You now go to buy the ink, and they're telling you that the ink is 15,000. You bought the printer 12,000. They're telling you the ink is 15,000. You bought the printer 35,000, and they're telling you the ink is about what, 20,000, 30,000, and you're wondering, is it not ink? Why is the ink expensive? So that's the razor and blade model. You give people something for either free or very cheap, because the second play you intend to do with that product is going to change. It's going to be where you make your money from. So there are a lot. You can look at your business and say, okay, what can I do? You want to buy maybe shoe and bag. Some people do shoe and bag. Just different. Just look at your business. What can you do? How can the razor and blade model, work for your listing? So you create a complementary product, and the complementary product is where you actually make your money from. So you go to places where they tell you that, oh, you know what, you go to places and they say that, if you buy this, if you buy one of this, it is going to be this amount, but if you buy two, we'll give you this, and then you're thinking, man, I cheated these people. No, they have factored everything into the cost, so you now feel that it's better to even buy two because it's cheaper. No, it's not cheaper, it's not the same thing. That one is just like, okay, normally it won't pay them when they sell it one, so they put the price very high, so you are discouraged to buy it. Now what it does to them is that it helps them to sell more, it helps them to restock, and it helps them to move on to other things. So basically that's how that's basically how it works. So we also have franchise model. Franchise model, we all know what a franchise is, where you buy a name or a brand. For instance, not all the Chicken Republics you see are owned by Food Concept. Food Concept is the parent company of Chicken Republic. Not all the Chicken Republics you see are owned by Food Concept. There are people that pay franchise. Franchises are quite expensive because what you're doing is that you're buying the entire brand assets from them. So you're paying them for those things. So imagine if you're able to create, I don't know why I keep using Akara for examples, but if you fry maybe one of the best Akaras at Mokola roundabout, and everybody knows that this your Akara is the best. Now you don't have the resources or the capacity to start to be frying in Mokola, go to Gates and be frying, and at the order and be frying. But all you can do is people can come and say, we really like this your akara, I want to buy a franchise of it, and then it's going to be your name, to carry your name and everything. So they will pay you. You see that you do an analysis, this is what it's going to cost you, pay me for this, and then I will give you guys my formula, my secret formula for doing the akara. So it looks like mine, it tastes exactly like the way mine tastes, and it's, the environment will be designed exactly like that. So when they come, they say, oh, it's the same akara at Mokola that we used to buy. That is the place. So people go there to buy it, and then you make quite some money there. So we have also freemium. Freemium is where you give people access to use something for free, but they don't have access to other features. For instance, if you are using YouTube, YouTube is free, right? But it comes at a cost. What's the cost? Ads will be disturbing you and stuff. But if you don't want to watch ads, and if you want to have access to other kinds of programs on that platform, what do? You just pay some few dollars. But even if you don't pay, you won't have, what happens is that you won't have access to those things, but you keep enjoying the basic platform. So that's basically what it is. That's basically what freemium model is. So there are a lot of models. Now I'm going to pause here as I begin to round up and say that for business models, you can get multiple models. You can mix them together. You can even create your own and name it after you. You can even decide to say, this is the Sikira model, and you just create it. The most important thing that you shouldn't miss here is, hey, how can my business make money? What do I need to do for my business to make money sustainably? Sometimes the models change, because the model you start with when you're starting your business may not be sustainable when your business has probably grown, or when you want to change the approach of your business, it may not be the same thing. So, all of those things affect how your business model can be built. But you need to know that, okay, this is the kind of business space I'm playing. Am I playing in B2B, B2C, B2E, B2G? And then when you know that, you can now start saying, okay, what are the models open to me? What are the options open to me that will make me break even faster, make a profit, and grow this business? So I believe this session was really helpful to somebody out there listening. We'll have another Business and Life series next week, same time, same venue, same station. And do well to follow Aloore Radio on YouTube, on Facebook, and also the website is www.aloreradio.com. My name is Relaso Dukong. Until we come your way again next week, have a great morning.
Stand as a people with one song.